Hafide, welcome to Weekend Edition. I'm Tyler Matanani. Glad you could join us. As vaccination numbers increased, restrictions were lifted, and lately tourism has been picking up. We report from the Guam International Airport Authority. Guam International Airport Authority Executive Manager John Kanata reports the number of air passenger flights have been increasing, with an average of about 300 packs per flight.
We have a lot of expats that are coming in from Philippines, from Japan, from Korea, from Taiwan, coming in.
But they're not here on vacation necessarily.
They're U.S. citizens, and they come in to get their vaccination shots here on island. And then they'll go back to where they came from.
In terms of processing of vaccination verification at the airport, what used to be a 2-hour wait has been reduced to 15 to 20 minutes.
We've got all the kinks out, we've learned a lot, and eventually in the near future, all those public health processors will no longer be there, and you'll be back to customs doing the processing for even public health.
Kanata noted that Taiwan's EVA Air has been promising and that they even increased the size of the aircraft because of the amount of folks that have been coming in. They're also expecting more airlines from Korea real soon.
Trying to get their certifications to fly back into the island. It's more so their certifications from their government to start flying.
He says that they're starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel.
It's dim, but we're getting there.
Kanata adds that the amount of passengers arriving may have increased. However, they're not to the levels of pre-COVID, but he hopes they'll get there one day. Hundreds of millions of dollars in American Rescue Plan funds for Guam continue to sit dormant in a bank account. It's a much different story in the CNMI. Chris Barnett reports.
No RISE Act payments, no All Rise payments, no ARPA spending plan from the Lou and Josh administration. These stories dominating the headlines as months after receiving some $600 million in ARP funds, the government of Guam still hasn't spent a single dollar. But it's a totally different story 45 minutes to the north in the CNMI, where CNMI governor's spokesperson Kevin Bautista tells The Link public officials began planning how to spend federal bailout funds before they even got them.
We've been planning out what we're going to be spending on ARPA since March, actually, when ARPA was already in its formative stages in Congress.
And while senators, mayors, and the people of Guam have been asking for the administration's spending plan for months, up in the CNMI, a spending plan doesn't only exist, it was actually shared with all branches of government and the public in early June.
Governor Torres, Lieutenant Governor Palacios, our administration, our Department of Finance were very proactive in putting together a plan that worked well with the legislature and the judiciary. They were all together in one room on June 4th, and they applauded the plan that we presented to them. And we were very appreciative of that support because we knew that we were in this together as well.
And as GovGuam's $600 million is sitting in the bank untouched and thousands clamor for direct assistance through the RISE or All Rise Acts, Bautista said the CNMI has already spent millions in ARP and will send out $500 stimulus checks to every taxpayer in the first weeks of August.
We needed to come in and leverage and maximize every single federal dollar and every single federal resources that we were receiving during this unprecedented time. And we needed to make sure that we're doing this not just for the shortfall of government revenue, but for the people that need it the most.
But here on Guam, those who need it most continue to wait as the legislature pushes ad loop for a plan and, more importantly, transparency. But again, in the CNMI, it's a different story.
This is an unprecedented time, and the governor wholeheartedly believes in collaboration with all three branches of government, regardless of the politics.
For Guam's News Network, Chris Barnett reports.
Some assistance for school uniforms is being provided to Guam Department of Education students in need. With the uniform policy reinstated by the Guam Education Board in June, GDOE wants to be clear with parents that the uniform requirements should not prevent students from attending school. GDOE Deputy Superintendent of Curriculum and Instruction, Joe Sanchez, said uniform vouchers will be provided to assist parents in getting their children's uniforms.
Their priority has to be to get their kids into school. So if for whatever reason they don't have a uniform or they're not able to get it yet, we still want them to send their children to school. And if they're having challenges, they just need to contact the school or let the school know. And what we can do is we can help work out with the vendor, or the schools have uniform banks that could provide extra uniforms that are on campus, as well as we're using federal funding to provide vouchers to our students who are in need, which would provide a certain number of sets for the students. So we really want to help them to make sure that they don't. That's not the reason why they're staying out of school. The priority.
GEB waived the uniform requirement last school year due to financial challenges posed on many families by the COVID-19 pandemic. In other education news, some relief for parents this upcoming school year as the Guam Department of Education has approved to increase its student school supply annuity. During the school year 2020 to 2021, each student was allotted $60, which was distributed to all 40 GDOE schools to purchase school supplies for their students. With the new school year less than 3 weeks away, Joe Sanchez, Deputy Superintendent of Curriculum and Instruction of GDOE, said that the agency has increased its ways in providing support to teachers and students.
During that time, we got a lot of feedback from the schools asking us to increase the amount. So we looked at our budgets, and based on the input from teachers and administrators, we were able to increase that amount to $100. So what's happened is we've allotted $100 per student to go to the schools, and the schools are the ones responsible for purchasing the notebooks and pens and pencils and all the things that the students need to do or to have for the school year. So basically, we don't want any student or their families to have to buy their own school supplies.
The subsidies are being funded through the Education Stabilization Fund and the American Rescue Plan. A former Guam resident was on island in June, scouting locations and making moves for a future film project that she will be starring in and directing. Joan Uggin-Charfris has more.
It was a homecoming reunion, 12 years in the making, for Emmy-nominated actress and filmmaker Rain Valdez, and she was definitely excited to be back on island. Valdez, along with fellow actress and filmmaker Rachel Lako and president and producer of Faye Pictures, Shant Joshi, spent almost 2 weeks here in June, presenting their trans-led Asian-American rom-com feature project, Relive, a tale of an American island cheerleader. Valdez explains how the idea came to be.
Certain parts of the story is very inspired by my life. The character did grow up from Guam and she left, which is something that I did. And my mother, after 10 years of being gone, was diagnosed with cancer, and I flew back home immediately to help care for her. And I visited my old high school at the time, which was Simon A. Sanchez, and I remember just thinking, oh God, wouldn't it have been amazing if I was able to go to high school as my true authentic self?
Valdez said she wrote the script in one day.
It wasn't hard to write it because I really pulled from my experiences on the island, my experiences being an actor in LA, as well as my experience with my family.
Along with taking meetings and making pitches, the trio ventured all over the island, scoping out potential shoot locations, experiencing the culture, sights, and of course, the food.
It's really important for us to highlight the community here in Guam, and it's my first time in Guam. So I was just, when we were writing the script, I was just going off of what Rain was telling me and research and everything. And being here now, it's been 10 days. And seeing the culture and meeting all the people here, it's everyone is so welcoming and loving. Once we rewrite it again after this trip, there's going to be so much. I think it's going to be richer,
I think it's going to be a lot richer, a lot more authentic,
yeah.
A lot more representative of the Chamorro culture, the Filipino American diaspora, and the beauty.
Originally, they were supposed to arrive in May, but COVID restrictions pushed back their plans to June, which is Pride Month, and they believe it worked out in their favor.
It's really special for us, especially because of, you know, who we are as a team, and also like the stories that we're telling, which is really highlighting the queer and trans communities.
What surprised me the most was the thriving LGBTQ community here on the island. That was not a thing when I was here last. Guam Pride is only 5 years old, and I never thought that that would be possible. And one of the reasons why I left, not just because I wanted to act and I wanted to be a filmmaker, but I also wanted to find community that would be accepting of who I am, and to come back and discover that they're here. And they've always been here, and they've figured out a way to exist very visibly, was a very emotional experience for me.
They add that when they come back to start production, they want to prioritize local talent, crew, and producers, and have been working very closely with Miracle Magol, Joey Certeza, the Muñoz brothers, and also the Guam Visitors Bureau.
We really can't wait to make this movie with our island.
It's gonna be so fun.
Yeah.
But I also want to say, like thank you to everyone on the island who has been so welcoming and supportive, and it's really inspiring just to be surrounded by just genuine, beautiful, kind humans.
Reporting for Guam's News Network, I'm Jonah Goncharfres.
Stay tuned. Next on Weekend Edition, we have Culture Club, and still to come, Dave Delgado with sports.
Get up-to-the-minute news, plus access to alerts, streaming radio, promotions, and more on your mobile device by downloading the KUAM News mobile app, available at the App Store now.
Honey, do you want some milk?
Do you ever wonder how your favorite products make their way into your local stores? Most arrive on state-of-the-art Matson vessels that transport containers of food, household items, equipment, and supplies into the islands every week. Because we know that you depend on us, we work closely with our partners to ensure that our shipments arrive on time, all the time, so you can find your favorite products when you need them. We transport the region's most precious cargo that supports successful businesses and promotes a better quality of life for our families. Matson is proud to have been the hometown shipping carrier for Guam, the CNMI, and Micronesia for the past 25 years, and you can count on us to be here for generations to come.
When we face an uncertain path, when we struggle with life's challenges, and when the unexpected happens,
it's a beautiful day.
We rely on the people we trust,
Whoa, whoa, whoa. It's a beautiful,
who we can always count on,
beautiful day.
and to the ones who give us the most care throughout the years. Rely on Calvo's Select Care to give you the comfort and security you need
It's a beautiful day.
wherever you are. Calvo's Select Care, healthcare that's always there for you.
Welcome back. For this week's Culture Club, we introduce you to Roman Duenas.
Culture Club, brought to you by Hanem.
Afere Guahusi Roman Duenas. I've been a carving apprentice for about 6 years. My journey with carving started in high school when I started becoming interested in what kind of things the ancient Chamorros would wear and what kind of tools they used. I started Googling, I started researching about what kind of jewelry they had, and I noticed that at the time when walking around, I would see people wearing what we call a sanahi, and I think that got me interested in wow, what is that thing made of? Why is it always white? you know, what do people use to carve it, what kind of tools. So that led me to Greg Pangilinan, and I've been learning from him for the past 6 years. So when I first started carving, I started carving bone, because cow bone, you know, beef bone, it was really easy for me to get. And from there, I started carving like more traditional material, like seashells and then fossil giant clam. But I think one of my main changes that I've experienced over the course of 6 years is that I've learned to just be really patient with my craft and even use small pieces of fossil giant clam or spondylus to make something. When I first started, I wanted to make really big pieces, but now I see how just being really patient and being really delicate can be really rewarding. It's been really humbling over the past couple years, because I noticed that I'm seeing now a lot of younger carvers, and sometimes they'll reach out to me and ask me questions like, what kind of bit do you use to carve this material, or what do you call this symbol or this design in Chamorro? And it is so rewarding to know that there are, you know, there's a whole other generation that is continuing the same craft as me. And just as I look to my Sina, Greg Pangilinan, I feel like in some small way I'm also helping this younger generation. The three most important traits for anybody getting into carving is, the first one is never be afraid of making mistakes, because you might have an idea of the perfect piece that you want to make, but let's be real, like it's rarely ever going to turn out the way you want it to, especially when you're starting off. So you're going to need to make some adjustments, and if you're afraid of making mistakes, the piece that you want will never be completed. So you just have to kind of roll with whatever life gives you. And the second tip I would give is when you start a project, finish the project. So just carry through, no matter what path that will take. And the third one is just be patient. Even if you don't have the skill yet, that skill will come with practice. I definitely think that the material aspect of Chamorro culture is thriving, but I also want to emphasize the importance of learning the language and also protecting our culture and the environment. So it's always nice to see someone in cultural jewelry and appreciate it, but at the same time we have to understand that there are things that are equally as important. Like, for example, the environment. If a beach is polluted, or if there's, like, you know, if it's very crowded, you're not going to find a lot of shells, you're not going to find a lot of life there. So it's also important to know that carving is intrinsically tied to the environment. My name is Roman Joseph Ibabao Duenas, and I'm a member of the KUAM Culture Club.
You can see this and future Culture Club segments on KUAM's digital platforms. Up next, we have sports.
Guam's auto appearance specialist, Elegant Reflections, has been providing the automotive industry with professional detailing and car care products at its highest quality, from complete detailing, full interior detailing, exterior detailing, headlamp restoration, hand washing, seat and carpet shampoo, engine degreasing, undercarriage cleaning, paint sealant, fabric protection, paint oxidation removal, and so much more. Visit us at our new location. Call 646-5555 for an appointment. Elegant Reflections, Guam's auto appearance specialist, over 20 years of experience.
KUAM News, in partnership with the Guam Visitors Bureau, brings you the Guam Safe and WTTC Safe Travel Certified Program Showcase. Look out for this powerful symbol for visitors, island residents, and industry workers alike, as it represents establishments with a consistent global commitment to safety practices. Stamped with approval by the Guam Visitors Bureau and the World Travel Tourism Council. Every Monday on KUAM News will feature a different local business who's taken the Safe Guam and Safe Travels pledge to maintain health and safety standards to get Guam back on track. Log on to visitguam.com to see how your business can receive the designation, what businesses in our community are Guam Safe certified, and have the WTTC Safe Travel certified.
KUAM Sports Weekend Roundup is brought to you by Gatorade.
I think the best word to use is how surreal was it. It was incredible. Like that, everything kind of building up to this point was, I mean, it all just felt like training, you know what I mean? Training for something greater. But in that moment, like walking into that stadium, like seeing all these teams, hearing the music blasting, hearing the announcers over it, like it was unbelievable.
Jagger says there were so many emotions on competition day, he spent the entire morning and afternoon thinking about his event. Stevens says he had to not think about the race just to calm down properly.
I was super satisfied with the time that I did, because we've had a super rough year in terms of training. Guam pools have been being shut down because of COVID. It's been really hard to get those consistent practices in. I am very, very satisfied with my performance at the Olympics.
With all of the restrictions put on the athletes at this year's games, Jagger says the precautions taken all paid off.
If you want a world event to happen, you have to have world-class rules and regulations. I thought it was handled fantastically. I mean, personally, we had this thing called an athlete playbook, which was like, God, how many pages was it? I think we eventually hit like well over 40 pages of it. And it just outlined, what you can do, what you can't do, what's the protocol, how you get in the village, how you get out of the village, what's all these processes, apps you got to download, like your health that you need to register. They truly, truly, truly did everything that they possibly could to make the games as safe as possible for both the athletes and the people of Japan. And it really is hard to complain, because they did a fantastic job, all things considered. I mean, I believe Japan is in their third or fourth state of emergency, and these are the kind of precautions that you have to take place, like when you're in that kind of situation.
Being an Olympic athlete has its perks. Athletes at the Tokyo Games will be going home with some fresh gear and technology.
It's gonna sound obnoxious if I list off all the things that we were able to get, but yeah, we had sponsors, of course. Like Team Guam was sponsored by like Adidas and even Arena, which is a swimming brand. So we got some gear from them, but also just for the athletes in general, we had some really cool stuff to get. Like we got a Galaxy S21 phone, which is like unbelievable, honestly. Like I've never gotten a free phone in my life. Latest and greatest. It's an Olympic edition. That's incredible. We also got some Galaxy earphones with it that I also imagine are top of the line. We also got some shoes and stuff, and I was really stressing out the day before we left, because I was like, I have a lot more things that I need to pack.
With the Olympic Games still going on and the next games to be held in Paris in 2024, Jagger left open the possibility of representing Team Guam again.
The long and the short answer is maybe. I mean, the truth is, like, it's several years away, so anything can happen. Who knows where life is going to take me? But on a very real note, like I'm 23 years old, like I've entered the adult world, and realistically, it's very, very hard to maintain that level of intensity in training while also maintaining like even the most like part-time of jobs. So that's something that's a very real thing that I have to take into consideration. So I hate that I have to give maybe as an answer, but I think maybe is a perfect answer because of just how dynamic a year can be.
Trench Challenge is back. Guam's obstacle course race for adults and Trench Kids, an obstacle course race for children ages 4 to 13, will take place at the Guam International Raceway in Jigo on August 14th and 15th. To abide by the current restrictions, the event has been split into 2 days with staggered start times and limited participants. For Trench Challenge, there are 5 different categories to choose from this year: competitive OCR WC qualifier elite division, competitive 3-person challenge, recreational division, Special Olympics charity run, and uproar fitness competition. Trench Kids has 5 different age divisions to choose from: 4 to 5, 6 to 7, 8 to 9, 10 to 11, and 12 to 13-year-old sprint. The top 3 boy and top 3 girl finishers in each division will be awarded. Packet pickup is scheduled for Thursday, August 12th and Friday, August 13th from 11 in the morning to 7 p.m. For more information, find Trench Events on Facebook and Instagram. Visit trenchevents.com or email info@trenchevents.com. Turning over to some basketball, 14 under U from the KFC Youth Circuit. Imperials taking on the Agana Heights Heat. Agana Heights controlled the boards and picked up some easy scores inside the paint off some putbacks. Nijo Navarro led the way for the Imperials with 8 points. The Heat led 19-15 in the third quarter. Imperials with some costly turnovers late in the game as the Heat were able to extend their lead with takes to the basket. Up 21-15 heading into the fourth quarter, James Seria hits the tough shot. He finished with 4 points for the Imperials. Agana Heights player Joseph answers with the bank shot the other way. The Heat win 29-23. Javen with the reverse lay-in off the missed corner three-point attempt for the last score of the game. In other news, what started as a very wet and raining morning transpired into a wonderful overcast but dry afternoon at the Guam International Raceway's Oval Track, which hosted round 3 of the Pro Line Drifting Championships. For this round was a tricky figure 8 layout that presented 5 total clipping points. 8 drivers went head-to-head to battle for podium placement and put on a fantastic show for the spectators. Von Burrell scored the highest in qualifying, but it was Matt Pilarka that made his way to pole position, with Burrell taking second and Carl Dumasic defeating Jasper Leong to take third. Round 3 of the Pro Line Drifting Championships were brought to you by Upshift and the Kang Tires, is presented by Napa Auto Parts, Valvoline, with special thanks to Fastenal, Hoffaday Signs, and Jones Media.
KUAM Sports Weekend Roundup is brought to you by Gatorade.
Summer is here, and at Cars Plus, we have the perfect Jeep for your summer adventures. Whether you're going off-road or just getting ready to hit the beach down south, make this the summer event you find your Jeep, like the 2021 Jeep Wrangler or the 2021 Jeep Gladiator, equipped with Guam's only lifetime powertrain warranty. Call us at 477-7807 or visit our website at carsplusguam.com to schedule a test drive today. Cars Plus, driven by you.
And before we close out the news tonight, our latest round of birthday shoutouts from the Cold Stone Creamery Birthday Club.
It's your weekend birthdays, and on the last day of July, we say happy birthday to Sharon Pinzon, who celebrates a birthday today. Sharon, happy blessed birthday. May you enjoy your special day. Your family say they love you very much. So Sharon, you have the limelight. You are our sole birthday celebrant this weekend, and we wish you and your family the very best as you celebrate a birthday. Happy birthday, Sharon, from all of us at KUAM and from Cold Stone Creamery.
Remember, you can be part of the Cold Stone Creamery Birthday Club by registering online on KUAM.com. Please make sure to include with your photo your name and birth date. That's all the time we have from all of us here at Guam's News Network. Thanks for watching and have a safe weekend.